Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another business intelligence session with Blessing. And today we're just going to be gisting. Nothing serious. Today we want to talk about pricing. So you see, pricing affects a lot of things in a business. If you don't get your pricing right, you would most likely not make enough profit to reinvest back into the business, to carry on with operations, and then to even eventually grow the business. So that's why we would be gisting basically, about pricing, particularly in this time and season, with the whole unstable pricing, with the exchange rates affecting a lot of businesses, it's very crazy. And if you don't know your way around, how pricing works, it's very, very easy, like very, very easy to run at a loss. So pricing basically in hard times, like what is even pricing? Okay, let's say you buy a product for 5,000 and then you sell for 7,000. Okay, means that you have made a gain of 2,000. But that gain you think you made, is it really a gain on your business? So in this module, we'll be looking at how pricing is being done, the kinds of pricing, how to understand your customers when it comes to pricing, and making sure that your pricing does not, repel customers from you, or making sure that your pricing aids your growth, making sure that you're actually using the kind right of pricing for the kind of business that you run. So it's very important that when it comes to when you're selling, when you're delivering your services, your pricing is done right. So we'll be treating the kinds of pricing, how to go about your pricing, how to go about these unstable prices, what kind of goods to stock, how to go about the kind of how you go about stocking, because when you buy something for 5,000 now, it's a taboo to sell it at 3,000 if everything is okay, like under all things being equal. You cannot sell, it's not right to sell below your cost price. So that's all we're going to be treating here, so make sure you follow. First thing, there's the most popular way of pricing is the traditional method. That's your cost plus markup. So you buy a product for 5,000 and you say, okay, you want to have this percentage of profit to your costs, and then make that a standard price. That's the traditional way. But one thing that business owners omit when it comes to pricing in this traditional way is that you look at your gross profit alone without looking at the other operating expenses. So that your gain on a particular product is 2,000, and you sell maybe like 100 products, that's like 200,000. That 200,000, can it actually cater for your operating expenses in a month? Now, firstly, we need to differentiate between your gross profit and your net profit, because pricing determines how reasonable and how good your profit margin is. So let's say you buy a product for 5,000 naira, right, and you sell for 7,000. That's, you've made a gross profit of 2,000. Gross profit is you just removing the costs of that product, like the basic cost. Now, when we talk about cost of a product, there are some directly attributable costs to that product that if you are not in that business, if you are not selling that business, if you are not actively performing that service or delivering that product, you would not incur those kind of expenses. Those kind of expenses, you make sure that you add them to your cost price. For example, if I buy a product for 5,000 and it costs me 500 naira to transport it down to where I'm going to, sell it, where I'm going to sell from, I need to add that 500 naira to my cost price. So let's say, okay, I put the product in a branding material, let's say a nylon or a branding pack. The cost of that pack has to be added to the cost price. So you need to not just you need to it's not just enough to know the amount, like the direct amount of that singular product, but everything that it costs you. I mean, if you are not selling that product, you would not need that nylon. If you are not selling that product, you will not need that packaging bag. If you are not selling that product, you will not incur a delivery charge from your supplier down to your store. So any directly attributable cost you make sure that you add them to the cost price of that product. Now, those are, we call them variable overheads, but then that's just the term for it. So you need to make sure that all those costs are added to your cost price. Then you now put a margin on it, say 20%, 30%. So let's say my total cost is now 6,000 and no longer 5,000 because I now understand how this thing works. So I add a 3,000 naira margin. So the selling price of that product is 9,000, right? So I have 3,000 naira gross profit, not net profit. Now, what makes a net profit exactly is that you remove operating expenses. So you have a store, whether you sell or you don't sell, you are going to pay for rent. Whether you sell or you don't sell, you are going to pay your staff salary. Whether you sell or you don't sell, you are going to make sure that your company line is recharged with data and all of that. So these are operating expenses. You spend on administration expense, let's say stationaries and basic things for the running of that business. Those that what we call operating expenses. So before you say, oh, 3,000 naira is so much of a margin, it is too much profit, there's so much profit in this business, you need to see if that profit can fund your operating expenses, including salary and including your own personal salary. So because most business owners, first, you don't pay yourself salary. As if that is not even enough. You don't even factor some of these things into your business. So you don't pay yourself salary, but you withdraw as often and as frequent as you can from the business. Now you're not even thinking if that pricing is right for your business running, the operations wise. You're not even sure, yet you are taking that much from that business. So if you really want to grow your business, if you want to scale up, if you want to deliver your services and products on a very big scale, you need to put all these things into consideration. So operating expenses are different from cost to selling. That's your packaging materials, your branding materials, and all those are your costs. But operating expenses mean that whether you sell or not, you're going to incur those expenses, like your rent, like your salary. So having that in mind, that's the traditional way of pricing. But this method does not really take a look at your customers. When you price based on your customers, you would experience more turnover than if you price based on your production alone. Now, this is not to downplay the production aspect. Of course, it's the taboo to sell below cost price, right? But you need to, okay, if you're selling something at 9,000 naira, your audience, are they ready to buy that product at 9,000 naira? Do you need to do extra things to make them see the value of that product at that price? So in pricing, you need to be customer centric and not just cost based. Cost based, yes, but having your customers and your audience in mind. Firstly, who are those people that need your services? What kind of caliber? There's something called customer avatar, yes. So you have a checklist of who your ideal customers are. What is it that they really value? Is it that they don't care about the money, they just really need your services or your products? Or for them to buy your products, they need to, have money. And here's what I mean. For instance, let's say you sell luxury stuff. So you know that those people that want to buy your product do not care about money. Because in the very first place, they care about money, they will not be buying luxury stuff. They will be buying basics and essentials. So you sell luxury stuff. So you use that, okay, when you buy something of luxury, you see it as something of class. They're trying to improve how people see them, what people think about them. They want to feel comfortable, they want to feel wealthy. Those are the things if those are the things that your brand communicates, then you need to inculcate that into your pricing. So you know that I cannot buy a luxury perfume for 2,500 naira. Like, it negates the purpose of that perfume already. The purpose of the luxury that is attached to that perfume. So if I'm selling a luxury perfume, I would not be scared to tag it at 100,000. Why? Because I know those that need these kinds of perfume, and I know where to get them. So you don't just call yourself a luxury product seller and you don't know how to get to those customers. So because if you have a very high price, you need to know how to complement the high price in terms of turnover. And here's what I mean. Someone can sell one product for 1,000 naira and sell it to 1,000 people. And someone can sell that same product for 5,000 naira and sell it to 500 people and still make almost the same profit margin. Why? Because of the perception. So it now depends on, okay, me that I know that I do not have, okay, I'm still building my brand, and let's say I'm still trying to get audience, I'm still trying to improve my reach. I know that it will be faster, it will be more easy to convince 1,000 people to buy something to buy something worth 1,000 naira than convincing 1,000 people to buy something of 5,000 naira or 500 naira. I don't know if you get me. So that is, you need to first of all understand the kind of customers that you're trying to attract, that's the audience, and also how to attract them. You don't just call yourself a luxury abaya seller and then you're not doing advertisement, you're not making efforts to get to those people that need those luxury items. So it is not the best product that gets sold, it is the most seen product that actually gets sold. So that's that. Then for getting your net profit, you need to make sure that, okay, so we said 3,000 is your gross profit, right? Okay, now that 3,000, you sell 200 products in a month. That's about 600,000 naira in a month. That's your gross profit of 600,000 naira. Now that money, can it take care of the basic expenses that you spend on in a month? If no, you need to either work on getting more turnover to fund those expenses or reviewing your prices. So that is, I'm not really a fan of increased pricing, because that your price is high does not mean that's the best of products. That your price is also low does not mean it is the most inferior product that there is in that industry. So it just boils down to the kind of audience that you have and those that are willing to pay for such products. So you make sure that you put your customers into consideration and also your operating expenses into consideration when determining your pricing. Now, the kinds of pricing that we have, like I said earlier, we have the traditional method, your cost plus your markup. The second one is value-based pricing. So value-based pricing works well for service-based businesses, in that, okay, this service that you're offering to people, what is the value? Okay, what is the market value of this service? For instance, an average business plan goes for about 50 to 150,000. Writing that same business plan for 20,000, people might think it is of inferior quality. Why? Because that industry, that kind of field works with the market value of such service. So value-based pricing is that, okay, this product is worth about 5,000 in the market. People know that this is the average price. If I sell it more than that, I might not get customer, except the value is well communicated. If I sell it less than that, people might be skeptical and there will be so much objections. So it is very important to know, if you are in a service-based business, it is important to identify what kind of value that service is offering to people, and also what is the market value of that service. How much are people paying to get this product or services in the market? Now, like I said, this kind of pricing works best for service-based businesses. Why? Because for product-based business, let's say the market value of something is, let's say, 50,000 naira, but you bought it at 80,000 naira. How do you sell below your cost price? So we're going to get there shortly about how to deal with unstable pricing. But for service-based business, this is the best way to adopt your pricing method. So you make sure that you make your research about how much such service is being done, and then you look at your customers, your audience. Okay, if this service is actually worth 100,000, can I still deliver the service for like 80,000 and still get a reasonable amount of people to work with me on these services? So that is that for value-based pricing. Then we also have dynamic pricing. One thing about dynamic pricing is it works with demand and supply. When demand is high, the price increases. When demand is low, the price reduces. Here is why. So when demand is high, right? Most times when there is so much demand for something in the market, the supply is not as much as that demand. So people inflate prices because of what they can actually get, in that in because of how the market is at the moment. So when you're selling something at a high price because demand is actually high, it is because the cost of replacing that product or service is what you are charging for. For instance, if demand for something is high, supply is not as high as that, right? So you buy something for so you are selling something for 5,000 naira, and because demand is high, for you to get that product again, you have to spend 7,000. How then would you now sell below that price? So you have to. So that is basically what. That's why you see that, okay, when fuel is about to get scarce, the prices are always very high. Same thing with gas and most essentials. When you see that, okay, something is about to become scarce, or when something is not in season, let's say a fruit, if a particular fruit is not in season, it's going to be very expensive. But if it is in season, you see that, it would be way lesser. So now, ways to improve your pricing. And we're just going to talk about two different ways to improve your pricing. Number one is in bundles. This bundling is very interesting and is more cost effective. And here's how. So let's say I want to buy a camera. So if I want to use a camera, it would be better for me to use that camera with a tripod. It would also be better for me to have like lights, different LED lights, whatever light they call it. Then if I'm doing things relating to videos, I might need to get a mic. Okay, you know that you need to get a mic, you need light. So why not put all of these things as a bundle? You can even collaborate with people in that field and you all make profit from it. For instance, okay, let's say a light is 50,000, one is 80,000, the camera itself is 500. Why not put everything in a bundle and make sure that as a bundle, it is way lesser than if they are buying it individually. So if they are buying this product that I mentioned individually, they'll be spending more than buying it as a bundle that you are proposing. So that way, it is a win-win for both of you. If you are selling those things differently, you know how much it would cost you on packaging, logistics, and every other direct cost to such delivery. But if you are sending it out at once, it would be more cost effective, even for you as the seller. So for instance, okay, let's say I'm writing a business plan. So business plan, a pitch deck, a business proposal, and a company profile. If you want to do business plan, you have to pay like 80,000. You want to do pitch deck, 50,000. You want to do a proposal, 50,000. Why not put everything in one and sell it at a discounted price? I mean, discounted in terms of if they are going to be doing it one by one, it's going to cost them more. But as a bundle, so it's a win-win for you. You spend less on direct cost and also less on operating expenses for that particular product. So that is that way bundling. Even Amazon does this. It is very cost effective and it helps you. So people like it when they feel like, oh, they are cheating you. Or when they feel like, oh, this price, like pay, do you get? They prefer they have this. There's just this psychology attached to it that, oh, like this thing. Hey, how are you not seeing your profit? They are not concerned though. They are concerned about their own pockets and how it is more cost effective for them. Just make sure that it is not, affecting your business, because even if you do it in this kind of bundles, it will most likely improve your turnover. Then the second thing is pricing to magnet. So let's say like this example of business plan now. So if you get this business plan or this bundle, you get a free elevator pitch. I don't know if you get me. If you buy this camera package or video content package, you get a free wireless mic. It's like a magnet. something that it would cost you, but it will not cost you too much because of the cost attached to it. So there is an opportunity, there is another benefit that you are going to get from that seemed cost or seemed loss that, as it may be. Okay, you might be giving them a free mic that you will buy, that you would pay money to, actually get. Fine, it's going to cost you, but the benefit attached to you attaching that free mic to such a bundle is more than the cost that you would incur in getting that bundle, more than the cost that you would incur in getting that mic. So that's that. And in this unstable time where exchange rate is crazy, today is down, tomorrow is low, how do you handle your pricing? And here is my suggestion. So my suggestion is that firstly, you need to not joke with record keeping. Why? Because record keeping is what is going to help you, what's going to help you in detecting what problems you are facing specifically and how to tackle them. And here's what I mean. Record keeping, you know how much you make in a very low month. Like, okay, you're not making sales at all this month. You would make a sale of 100,000 naira. There is no need to panic buy. The problem with business owners when it comes to restocking their products and buying products for sale is that when you hear that something is about to increase in price, you go and panic buy. What then happens if the price crashes? Why not buy according to your expected customers? For instance, if you're buying, because there's nothing that is certain, you might think something is going to keep increasing in price, but what if a government policy just comes to play and actually crashes? How do you handle that? So you know that in the worst case scenario, you're going to make like 100K in a month. Why not restock products for that income bracket, for that revenue gap, so that you don't stock more? Because if you buy at a low price now and if you buy at a low price and then the price increases, how would you communicate to your customers that price has increased? You need to find a way to communicate with them. You buy at a low price and make sure that you are selling as soon as you buy them, so that it would not result into a loss for you. When price increases, you buy according to those that you think needs the service, not that you buy when the price is high and then the price crashes. You will not get people to buy from you if the market value of such a product is still low. For instance, you bought at an item when it was 70,000. Now the price is now 50,000 in the market, but you're still selling yours at 80,000. Who would buy? Most likely nobody, or the sales is going to be very, very low. So here's my suggestion with pricing. You just make sure that you have an idea of how much you sell in a month, so you restock around that gap. And panic buying is bad. Panic buying is the problem of Nigeria as we are right now. So there's no need causing yourself so much havoc when it comes to restocking your goods and to affect your pricing. So that would be it about our session today, and I hope that you learned something. Kindly drop in the comment section your questions, your suggestions, or what you would like us to talk about in the next episode. So kindly like, share, and subscribe to this channel. My name is Blessing Atandai again, and this is Business Intelligence with Blessing. See you next time. Thank you.